Hi everyone, welcome to DURGASOFT. This is Vikram. I'm having around 13 years of experience in IT, and I have been working on since for Splunk since 4 years. This is about me. So let's go. Today's agenda. First thing, what is machine data? We'll discuss about what is machine data. Types of machine data. Okay. Then we'll discuss about what is Splunk. And we'll discuss about who will be using the Splunk. Who will be using the Splunk? And we'll be discussing about some use cases as well as part of this. Jobs, what jobs we can expect from after doing Splunk. Certifications, Splunk installation, and some basic operations. Okay, so first we'll start with machine data. Actually, what is machine data? The data, in simple, if you say, right, the data that is generated by a machine, right? Any machine, it can be a system or it can be a server. Yeah, it can be a server or it can be a IoT device or it can be like a mobile phone or it can be a tower, right? So I got a chart. Yeah, the machine, that is data that is generated by a machine, correct. So what are types of machines? Machine can be a server, that is one option, okay, or it can be an IoT device, or it can be a router, okay, or it can be a AD server. What is AD? The people who are working on the networking might know what is Active Directory, right? And like you will use this AD for domain login, right? And it can be a database. Okay, there will be some devices that are radio frequency devices. Right, so like that we can count so many, like any data, which any device that generates some data, irrespective of whether it is a server or it's an application. Okay, and if you can, in this, right, you will have application servers, routine application servers, and DB servers, and all those, and web servers, app servers, something like that. Okay, then what forms you can expect the machine data? One is, what types of machine data you can expect? One is, it can be, let us assume, like there is a router. Okay, router or anything. What data is needed from the router? The bandwidth, okay, and CPU, health status, right? If you take some application, or before that we'll go to OS. If you take some OS, what data you can expect? You can expect something like CPU, RAM utilization, or something like logs. Okay, you can expect logs as well. Even for application, predominantly there will be logs, right? Till now, I hope everyone is clear. Yeah, threads, memory utilization, correct, network and all those. So what is Splunk basically? Splunk is a log monitoring software. Okay, basically Splunk is a log monitoring software. So means it will, let us assume like there is an application server. Okay, I will put it in the diagram, that will be clear for you. Okay, so let us assume this is my Linux box or a Windows box. Okay, this is my Linux box. In that I am running two things. Okay, this is my application server. Okay, and this is my DB server. Okay, in our traditional architecture, software architecture, before 10 years, right, before 10 or 15 years, so how we used to have the applications, right? We'll have one Linux box. In that they will install the application server as well as the DB server. The DB server can be MySQL or whatever. Okay, we'll go with open source now. Let us assume like I'm running an Apache Tomcat, Apache, as well as the DB server MySQL in this box. So I am running some HR portal. So what kinds of information I will expect? I'm a developer. Let us assume I'm a developer. What sides of information I will expect from this box? One is I will look for logs. Correct? Here I will expect three types of logs. One is like OS logs, one is the application logs, as well as the DB server logs. Correct? Okay. I think you know about the log retention period. Do you know the log retention period? Let us assume like I am running one application for some 7 days or like 2 hours. So normally what happens, right? There will be something like a log retention period and log rollover period. I think this everyone knows. So whatever the transaction, first we'll discuss like what is log. There will be three types of log. Before coming here, right? I will explain you like what is a log. Log is something like whatever the action you trigger, that will be recorded in one text file. That is a log. So the normally the log format will be something like this. Okay, this will be something like, so today's is like 10 colon 01 colon, oops, I didn't turn on my note. Okay, okay, 10 01 1. Okay, and we'll have some timestamp. something like 10 column 20. You will have the log level followed by the action, or post is the method followed by the application name, something like dot abc shopping dot com slash, you will have something like mobile, and we'll be having some status code, something like 200. Okay, post that you will be having the response time. So this is the response time is equal to something like 200 milliseconds. So these are the basic things that you will be recording in the log. So, and this will be iterated. There will be some disk size. Let us assume like my disk size is something like 100 GB. For my application, I have got some 500 GB hard disk. Okay, I am having some disk space of around like, I should not put hard disk. Okay, here I had some around like 500 GB. So if let us assume like on a big billion day or something, like there will be like normally the if the application is running continuously, right, the logs will be generated, and subsequently after some time, right, my 500 GB will be exhausted. So what we will do, we will apply two policies. One is like log rollover, okay, and log retention. So log rollover means first log is generated, okay, log 1 is generated here, and whether I want to roll it to log 2 based on day, time or size. So these are the two options I can roll over based. Let us assume like if I put some fixed size like 10 MB, after that, right, my log will be roll over, and how many logs like this, like log 1, log 2, how many logs I should have in my application, in my hard disk. It is something like, I will put it as 5 log. Last 5 logs will be there. After that, right, it will be deleted from the server. Okay. Here Splunk will come into picture. Let us assume like here after 5 iterations, no, only last 5 will be there. Okay. After that, all the logs will be deleted. Till now, everyone is clear. Okay. Now I'm working on I got an issue. Okay. I saw something like payment failed some 20 minutes back. I saw something like after 20 minutes, okay, some issue reported. I came to know like for some user or some 5 users or some for MasterCard or something, like some payments got are failing. I want to revisit these logs. Are these available? No, these are deleted from the server. Okay. Now Splunk will come into picture. Basically, Splunk is a log monitoring tool. Can you go on mute? So here, like this, in an enterprise, right, I will be having some not one application. No, here I will be having some thousands of applications. Okay, I will be running. Let us assume like I am running some 100 projects. Okay, I have presence across multiple globes. Okay, across the globe. So I'm having some thousand projects, and each project is having some 100 servers. Okay, it includes like testing servers, development servers, and support servers, and well as the production servers. So what Splunk actually will do, right? Here you will be having the source applications. Let us assume I will call as the source applications, and I have Splunk over here. Okay, what's actually Splunk will do, right? Splunk will ship the logs from the source systems. Either the source systems can be anything basically. It can be a server or a device or IoT device or a router or whatever. It can extract, it can pull the data from any device. Okay, we'll come to that later. First, we'll understand the concept. Can you please go on mute? So here I am having some source applications. Okay, so now what Splunk actually will do, right? It will collect the required data, whatever we configure. Let us assume like if you want some logs, we can configure. If you want to get some metrics like CPU or whatever, right? We can get that. So it will collect all the data from the multiple sources to the Splunk. Okay. In Splunk, it will store something. There is one component called like indexer. Okay, we will come into this in future. First, Splunk will get the data. How it will get the data? Because I have my source system. Here I am having my destination system. Okay, that is Splunk. It has to ship the data. It can't do something like that. It should have some agent. So let us assume if you think of like Windows, Linux or something, right? We will install a agent in my source system such that it will ship the all the logs. Whenever it generates the log, the same will be shipped to the Splunk. Basically what Splunk will do, it will first job is collect. It is collecting the job, sorry, it will collecting the data. Second, next is it will store the data. Okay, next, third, what the data is stored now. Let us assume like I got all the data over here. Next, I need to analyze it. Analyze in the sense something like, now I told you, no, I am having one company called like ABC Shopping. So here what happens, whenever the customer buys an item or whenever a customer sees an item, right? Everything, every event will be recorded in the log. The same data I will be getting here. Correct? I'm getting in my indexer. Okay, here I'm getting in my indexer. So I have the data. Now I can extract some beautiful information, something like, let us assume like I'm a business guy. Okay, now I can track per hour how are the sales, how many mobiles are sold, how many laptops are sold. Okay, from which state or which region or which country there are more sales. So using this raw data, whatever the data that is shipped to indexer is called as the raw data. Using this data, let us assume you know how like big data, right? Why big data is used? Big data's main purpose is to extract some valuable information from the unstructured data, or unstructured data, correct? Or some data. So they will be doing analytics. So even here also using this Splunk, right, I can get some charts, right? Some per hour, how many like goods are sold. Second, per hourly turnover. And I can get, let us assume like you are giving some offer 70%. For 70%, you will be, they will be giving some discount, you are giving some discount for 70%. Okay, and you will be having some budget for that. Let us assume like you have allocated some 20k dollars. For 20k dollars you are giving discounts. Okay, so as the customer buys, what will happen, this 20k counter will decrease, no, because it is not like counter. There will be number of products. Some will be like shoes, some will be like laptop, something like that. So you can extract that information from it. Okay, this is one of the use, like big data people, right? They will use Splunk for this purpose. Okay, and coming back to here, I can extract, what I can do, right? I can do something like charts. I can prepare beautiful charts, like I can get like top items being sold, what are the top sellers, from which state there are like more number of sales on, like lively I can monitor that one. So using the stored data, I can extract some beautiful information. Okay, this is what is Splunk. I can create some charts like pie charts and all those, right? Pie charts, bar charts, line charts, we can, and time charts. There will be different types of the charts. In most of the companies, right, the Splunk will be used by the production servers. In 90% of the companies that exist, they will use Splunk for like production. Even they might not have it in like this one, testing environments and development environments, but in production they will use Splunk. Okay, till now clear?
Yes.
And some other items from where the like I will put it here, anyhow I completed half, right? So I will put, there are some other sources from which the Splunk can get the data. Okay, we have mentioned about the routers, uh, this particular, this is like OS. Let's change it to OS. Okay, here I will change this to app servers or the DB servers. Okay, there will be like, I think like many people know what is virtual machine. Okay, virtual machines. Okay, there will be something like security devices. Okay, there will, it can monitor the security devices. It can monitor the network. It can monitor the network. Mainframes I have already mentioned, right? So, and radio frequency devices, something like that. Okay, and what we will discuss, right? This I'm done. Till now everyone is clear, right? Because I will wipe up this. I will wipe this MS Paint. Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah. So first we will understand like now you write what is the capability of Splunk, you know now, right? So basically it can get the logs. I will say some use cases so that you will understand, because for some tools, right, there will be n number of capabilities. We can't say like what is the goal, we can't tell, because let us assume there is some tool, it can be used for n number of purposes, right? In the same fashion. So who will first will explain who will be using this, and I will explain the each use case. So Splunk, who will be the Splunk users? It varies. Goal varies from person to person. Based upon the role, it will change. Let us assume like first customer, customer or business analyst. If you are a business analyst, okay, you need to get the like information that is going in product. Like let us assume like I'm running a ABC retail company. Now he wants to know how many orders have been placed, how many orders have been successful, and how many people are canceling their orders. There will be some sorts of information, so that if they knows like why the people are returning the items, so there will be a number of use cases. No, if the business are peculiar, like whether it is pertaining to that particular region or it is pertaining to particular seller, okay, they can enhance their business. So business analyst or the customer will use the Splunk for that. Second, if you are a support guy, if you are a support guy, okay, support guy will monitor the production systems. Okay, let us assume like he has to monitor some 10,000 servers. Let us assume like there is some 1,000 servers he has to monitor. Okay, in that he can't log in into each and every server and monitor, no. So he will create some dashboards, okay, based on his need. Let us assume like he wants to know errors per minute. Okay, errors per minute, or system is healthy or not. Okay, I will show one dashboard so that you will understand. I have Splunk installed. This is the Splunk actually. This is the Splunk UI. So there will be something like website monitoring. See, I have like 10 days back or 20 days back, right? I have added some service URLs like developer.servicenow.com, some google.com and gotomeeting.com to this. So here now I know like by seeing this dashboard, I know like the status is okay. Here I am getting some connection field. Okay. And here directly I'm able to see the response time. Like what it is something like 1.9 second. Okay. This is quicker. This is for last 24 hours because Splunk I am monitoring this since 1 week, last 10 days or something. So last stats information I can get in last 7 days, right? The same is my like 1907, 1902 milliseconds is the response time. Okay, and the range is varying from this one to this thing. Here I will go to something like health, and here I clicked on logs. I will explain what is this in future, but to give you an insight, right? Using this dashboard, right, I can get like what is happening. I can see the latest doc. I no need to log in into that server itself. You are getting in my dashboard itself. I can get latest logs over here, and I can get like the stats, something like how many info are there, how many errors are there. Now I got one error. Okay, I can directly click and I can go to that and I can verify that one. Okay, here I'm getting some error over here in this log. So let us assume like if you are having one standalone environment, that is fine. Let us assume here if I'm having one server, if I'm having one server, it is fine where application is deployed like DB server application, that should be fine. In now, right, the support team's challenge is something like this. Now, how the architecture of the applications is, we are having different clouds. Okay, let us assume my ABC shopping site is present across like multiple countries. Okay, in some countries I'm hosting my application in Azure. In some countries I'm hosting in Google Cloud, and in some countries I'm hosting in Amazon. Okay, and I can't host all my application in the cloud, right? Yeah, for analytics also we'll use Splunk. So it depends upon the role. If you are a BA, if you are a Splunk developer, you can use your Splunk in the analytics. The support guy will use for monitoring the support, and admin will be there. If you see admin, no, admin will use for log monitoring and all those. So will it is used by it is you can't say like if you are using some tool like uh, any tool like testing tool like Selenium, right, it will be used by testers. So here, right, it is used by multiple people across organization for multiple purposes. Okay, yeah, I will come back to my scenario. Here I am hosting in cloud. In cloud I am having Azure. Okay, and I'm having Amazon. I'm having Google Cloud. So as I am a like a retail company, I will store their credit cards. I will add them to my billing list. So I want to store those information in cloud. So I will have my physical data centers in my office. Okay, in my office, and I will store there. Got it? So whenever a user initiates a transaction, right, first it has to go to Azure. Okay, now we'll one interesting thing. These days, right, all the solutions are being decoupled. So in one server, we are not having one application server. Now we are going to microservice. So whenever we go to microservice, what will happen, right? What they will do, right? For billing, for payment, they will develop one microservice. Okay. For searching item, they will develop one microservice. Okay. Other operations are like for order tracking and delivery, they will develop one more microservice. So in my application, let us assume I'm having some 50 microservices. So there will be 50 logs that is generated. Can a support guy, if he gets an issue, he can identify whenever we don't have Splunk, he can log into, can he log into Azure and these 50 microservices and get where the problem is? Is that possible? No, right? It will be a hectic job. So let us assume like I have a solution something like this. Okay, So here I'm getting all the logs. So I will just search for error. So I can directly like out of, what is the time? Just I will take. Here I can select last 16 minutes data you want, last 24 data you want, something like that. We can select the specific time range also. Let us assume like you came to know like there is an issue that happened at around like this particular interval. Like something I will select this one. Just give me a second. This is like today is 20th, 10th, right? Okay. Now I will select like from 10:30 to 10:41. In last 10 minutes I have data. I got some error. I can directly filter the events that are pertaining to that error here. I can directly work on these errors, boss. I will my lead told like, boss, this is not my error. Okay, this is expected only. Okay, you just ignore. So I can confirm like within 2 minutes I confirmed like there is no error. The issue is not from my side. This is just a basic thing. So let us assume. So I want to monitor in last 1 hour, what last 10 minutes there are 12 errors. If I put something like if I want to get the data for last 4 hours, there are some 276. Like that, I will prepare ready-made dashboards by writing the Splunk queries. So this is how the production team will use. They will send this as a report to the team such that the development team will work on. Got it? So like this support guy will use. Let us assume like there is a one fellow like security guy. Okay. So his job, his role is to protect the enterprise from vulnerable attacks. Okay. Security, his role is to, I mean like, let us, there are some 1,000 servers. You will have more than 1,000, 10,000 or 3,000 you will have. But I'm telling like just an example, like 1,000 servers are there in that enterprise. Now his job is to, a hacker is trying to attack one particular system. He will attack, he will target only one server out of 1,000. So now without Splunk, right? If some attack happens, right, you won't know immediately because you don't know out of these 1,000 servers which server he is attacking. So let us assume like if I have Splunk and if I create a dashboard something like this, I will just check if I have something like login. So login we are having. Let us assume like if a hacker tries to attack a system, there will be one snippet of code something like login failed. This is the criteria. In a normal day, per hour, right, you will have some 10 login failures. That is the trend you will see in your company. Okay. Suddenly, per 10 minutes, okay, whenever hacker tries to attack, right, he will be using different combinations, right? Users name, passwords, or some mechanisms. Now you saw something like 100 login failures in 10 minutes. Okay. Then if I have a dashboard something like this, if I created this as a dashboard, if I get this count as 100 in 10 minutes now, then something I will directly see something there is fishy. Okay, there are 79 servers. Let us assume like here in 10 minutes I am able to see some 309 servers, 309 events. Immediately I will go and check the source machine he is trying to target. Okay, I will click it. Okay, just give me a second. Just a second. Here I'm clicking events. Source mesh source. I will go and check the host machine. There is something like host machine. Okay, here I have this host. Okay, this is the server they are attacking, where the hacker is trying to attack. I will directly log in and close the server. I will shut down the server. I will decouple this server from my environment itself. Now the issue is resolved within 10 minutes. Without Splunk, right, it will take days. After the event, after he catches, you will get in news. Like that, I can explain so many use cases. Let us assume like you are running some geo is there. Okay, he will be having app. Okay, he will be having some app where you will do the recharge. Once the recharge is done, right, it will go to the like recharge application that is present in the geo. Correct? Got it. Here he can track from the tower basis. Like if you do a recharge, right, what will be the use case? So first you will do app will be there. From app you will do the recharge. Okay, I will take it here so that it will be easy. From app you will do the recharge. The recharge will be going to the oops, from app it will go to application. From like a recharge application, from there it will be updated in DB. From DB it will go to the data will be fetched from DB, and there will be a separate application that has to send a message to you. Okay, to your mobile. So from that it will go to that application, and that application will send that signal or whatever to the tower, and from there it will go to some routers or whatever. Okay, and then at last you will get it to the mobile. If I configure, let us assume like recharge or something failed, the updation failed, the user user the recharge amount is not coming. So if I can send this apps logs, I can send the application logs, I can send the DB logs, and I can send the application from where the application will pick from the DB and it will send to the customer, right? That flow I can capture. Okay, and the tower information, whether the tower is healthy or not, or the router information. So all these stats or everything can be collected and it can be shipped to the logs. That is Splunk about. That is about Splunk. And basically, right, you will be having three roles apart from these use cases, right? Normal people who will be using the Splunk on daily basis. There will be some job opportunities. One is Splunk developer who will prepare these kind of dashboards. Okay, I showed, right, something like that. He will, based on the customer need, he will generate these dashboards. Okay, second one is Splunk admin, and third one is so Now, actually, Splunk is not a single software basically. Okay, Splunk is not just a single software. Okay, Splunk is having a like infrastructure, big infrastructure. It will contain some 30 to 40 servers. If you want to maintain some 20,000 source applications, application server, DB servers, and all those, your Splunk infrastructure will be something like some 50 servers. So in order to maintain those 50, and how many users who will access, the infrastructure will vary. Till now, okay, this is done. These are the explicit jobs apart from the other people like security guy, support guy, developer or tester. Or admin. These are the common people who will use, but apart from that, in Naukri or Monster, you will find explicitly these three roles. Okay, and Splunk provides some certifications. Core user, second one is the power user, advanced power user, certified admin, Splunk architect, certified developer, certified consultant, certified security admin. There is some new thing like IT service intelligence. Okay, these are the certifications that Splunk provides, and these are the three job opportunities. Now we'll see like what are the softwares. If I click on Splunk, actually there will be two types of softwares. Till now it is clear. Can I clear the screen? Okay. So as I mentioned, like Splunk will ship the logs. So here I am having source application. Here I am having my Splunk. So here there will be some software or an agent you should install that is called as Splunk forwarder. Just a second. Okay, there will be Splunk forwarder. Okay, here this is the Splunk enterprise, or I can Splunk an indexer. I can call it as an indexer. Okay, Actually, indexer is one component basically. Okay, so now when we talk about softwares, there will be two types of softwares. One is some agent which will ship the logs, that will be of 70 or 80 MB, and you will have some Splunk software which is around like 500 MB. Okay, so this agent you have to install in your source applications, and you will be having the actual application which is the indexer. Okay, let me log in. I will stop the screen share for a second. Okay, so here this is a Splunk Enterprise Edition. The current version is 8.11. It supports like 3 operating systems, so you can install your Splunk either in Windows or something like Linux, as well as in the Mac. So but 95% of your 97% of your like a Splunk will run on Linux. Okay, and in Linux also there are some different types of packages. One is like Debian package, which is used by Ubuntu. This is the tar based installation, and this is the RPM based installation, which will go with Red Hat Linux or CentOS or SUSE Linux. So those will be using this RPM package. Okay, so there are different types of packages. Based on your operating system or whatever, you have to decide. Else directly you can go with the tar based installation. Okay, now this is one thing. This is the agent. Sorry, this is the actual Splunk. Here you will be having, so here there will be one software called like universal forwarder. Okay, universal forwarder is something which is present in your source operating system. The source operating systems can be either Windows or Linux or Solaris or Mac or something like AIX. Okay, so based on the compatibility, you have to install the corresponding package. If you see the enterprise edition, it is something like 400 MB. It is like half gig, half GB. If you go to my universal forwarder, it will be a lightweight program that will be installed in your source machines. So there are some two types of versions that are present, that is 64-bit and 32-bit. Okay, so that based on your thing you can install that MSI. For Linux, if you see here, right, they are giving like multiple based on the 64-bit architecture and different architectures. The Splunk has released its own lightweight program over here. Okay, and if it is like Linux, it is something like this. It is Mac, you will have the compatible version. If it is AX server, you have to install that compatibility version in your universal forwarder. Okay, like this, you won't have one indexer, right? There won't be one server. Let us assume like you will be having some 1,000 servers, so will shipping 1,000 servers are there. It can't ship the data to one Splunk server, right? Like that, it will horizontally scale. Okay, one application, one component. So here I am sending some 1,000 applications. The source is 1,000. Here I am having an component called like indexer. Okay, which will store the data. Okay, it will store the data. Okay, now currently I am a user. Here I am a user basically. Okay, here I am a user. The user tries to, now all the logs are getting here. Okay, all the logs are getting, and these are being stored in my indexer, and I have to extract the information. Okay, here my indexer is busy in getting and storing the data. Now I user directly go to the indexer and get the data. Okay, actually Splunk has multiple servers. One is indexer stores data. Okay, its job is to just to collect and store the data. Next, there will be one component called as search head. Yes, metadata also it stores. Yes, it stores the metadata. It stores the raw data as well as the metadata. Now, I can't overload the server. There will be batch jobs. Whenever the batch jobs gets generated in my source application, right, the data will be very huge. Okay. Now, I will have a component called as like search head. Yes, we can use irrespective of like Java or whatever you can use. It can get the data from anything. It is not Java or something. It can get the data from routers, IoT devices, like sensors and all those. Okay. Let us assume this is search head. This component's job is, just now we saw some UI, right? Like getting the doing the visualizations. And if I will show one dashboard over here. So okay, I have one dashboard handy. Okay, I will show that one. So these UI things will be done errors in last 1 hour. Okay, in last 1 hour data I got within seconds. When I clicked the dashboard, I got there are 500s. Occurrence are this one 404. These are these many. How many success are there? Dashboards and all those. How many total requests are there? I got all the information within 1 minute. Okay. This UI part you have to write queries that is called as SPL. Okay. Using the SPL, we will be writing some queries and we have to prepare these dashboards. So we'll use this search head for that. The search head job is to get the data out of it. And you can't expect you will have only one indexer, right? In your company, because there are some 10,000 applications, 10K applications in your server, in your enterprise. Now, like that, you will be having multiple indexers. And I can't have one search head. I will be having multiple search heads. Because I will be having multiple users now who will be accessing, because I'm having 10K servers. If I'm running some 100 projects or some 200 projects, I will be having something like this. This my infrastructure grows. That's why we need an admin to manage and to keep the data in sync. And let us assume like there will be one concept like Splunk licensing. So each project will, how the Splunk will get money, right? Let us assume this server, this project is there. Okay, this project has to buy license something like 5 GB. He has purchased some license called 5 GB per day. So there will be a separate server called like license master. Okay, there will be something like license master, license manager, who will check these projects and check whether they have procured the license, whether running out of the license. That licensing part, it will be managed by the license server. Got it? Let us assume this is an this application 5 GB whatever we are having, right? It is an OS. I can directly send my data to indexer. Let us assume I am getting the data from the DB server or router. DB server or router. Can I install my universal forwarder in my DB server? Will anyone agree? Or can I install my like IoT device are there or something? Can I install this package in my universal? This can I install my universal forwarder in my router? No, right? This is only for operating systems. It can't send the data. So you will be using one component called like heavy forwarder. Introduce the heavy forwarder in between. What this heavy forwarder will do, right? It will execute the commands. There will be something like snmp and all those. For now, it is high level for you. So what it will do periodically, it will send some instruction like what is the CPU. Heavy forwarder will send that query whatever that is required to get the CPU out of or the network out of this router, and you will get the data to the heavy forwarder. And this heavy forwarder will send the data to the indexer by writing to some text file. Got it? You can't install any software in it. So you will install some component called like heavy forwarder, and you will get that information into the heavy forwarder, and that one you will store. If it is a DB server, no one in the world, actually DB server will be like very sensitive. All the issues will come from the DB only. So they won't allow any third party software to install on it. So this heavy forwarder will connect to this database. You won't install any specific package in your DB server. This heavy forwarder will connect to the database using some credentials and port, and it will fetch the data from there and it will give you in the indexer. From indexer, the user can see the data from this from search head. Okay, the user can write a query and from in the search head, and it will go to the indexer and it will get the data. Got it? Like that, you won't have one heavy forwarder, right? You will be having multiple heavy forwarders. Like that, there will be some other components. Okay, this is one thing, and there will be something like deployment server. What is the role of the deployment server is, as I mentioned here, I'm having source systems like 100 machines. I will install my agent here, universal forwarder. I will install, but I have to specify in my universal forward what data or where it should be, or the information like where the data should go. That configuration I have to give. How to? For that, right, I have to log into each and every server and I have to do that configuration. Let us assume like Google will be Google search is there. Google search backend, all the things are same only. Most of the servers will be same. Let us assume like I'm having some ABC banking. It will have the same functionality, right? It has to, like if I give a search by a product, I will be having some cluster of 20 or 30 servers. My request can go to anything. Okay. If I go to that universal forwarder configuration, there, let us assume like I'm having log something like where, or I will put like app. Okay. Uh, where app logs, I will put like purchase. I'm having a log called purchase.log. And in my infrastructure, I'm having some 30 servers of same configuration. 30 servers for this project I have. Okay, horizontal I scaled, and 30 servers I'm having. Now I have to update some configuration, like I have added a purchase log. Okay, now it is purchased. Secondly, right, what I added, right, I added one more thing called uh, where slash, okay, inquiry.log. Now I have to do this configuration in my all 30 servers. For that, I have to log in into my 30 servers and I have to do. Instead of that, right, there will be something called like deployment server. If I do the configuration in my deployment, sorry, if I do my configuration in my deployment server, and if I push to my 30 servers, right, in one shot, all the clients will get the updated configuration and they will be sending the data. Like that, you will be having these components, and this size also grows based on the configurations and your infrastructure. How many servers you have? If I'm having 10K servers, right, I can't have one deployment server, right? Here I should go with some 4 or 5 deployment servers. Like that, my Splunk infrastructure will increase based on the project or the company. If it is a small company, right, you will be having some minimum infrastructure like 10 servers or 20 servers. If you go to a like some company like Infosys or something, right, there will be a specific team who will be working on the Splunk. For them, right, Splunk, the project teams will approach the Splunk teams for onboarding, for getting their data into the Splunk. Got it. If the Splunk team has to manage all the projects, then they have to see the infrastructure, right? For this, you will have a Splunk admin. And for writing the queries and doing, right, you will be having a Splunk developer. Okay. This will, let us assume, like credit. One example is like there will be some MasterCard and Visa, right? Whenever you make a transaction, right, it will go to various streams like one bank to merchant, from merchant to seller or other, like there will be some use case, right? Okay, there will be some multiple people, right? Instead of that, right, a MasterCard guy wants to see the payments from multiple sources like multiple banks and all those, then he can use this and extract the information to which bank they are failures, which if the a fraud happened, let us assume like in a merchant thing, a fraud happened, something like a transaction has been stolen. Oh, okay, a fraud happened, my logs got over. Within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, like your applications will be removed from your in your servers. Correct. Now all the data I'm having. Okay, now I can store the data based on my business use case or my customer. I can store it for 1 year or 5 years or 7 years. Okay, all the data won't be present in the DB. No, they can't store all the data in the DB. So for some data, they will have some retention period. So if I put 7 years, right, my Splunk team has to maintain my data for next 7 years. If I give error and if I select some particular type of error or some transaction, and if I click right, I should get all the corresponding logs or of that particular transaction or that error within these 7 years. So you can backtrack based on the Splunk license you purchased and the infrastructure you that supports, right? You can backtrack a SAN transaction or you can get the trend. Let us assume like IRCC is there. You are getting the trend now whenever you click whether flights will be there. Okay, you can see the status whether it can be booked or not. How they will get the trend? Because they will analyze from the last 7 years data. In production, you got one error. Okay, you got it today, but the same thing you got it when you can check whether when you got this error before. You can check whether, let us assume like 3 days, 3 years back you got that error. So we'll check what is the functionality, whether did our developer touch that code. Recently we haven't got, before 3 years when they did some change, during that time we got that one and they fixed it. Now they will backtrack the release notes or something which functionality got changed. I'm done. If you want, right, actually there will be something like Splunk apps or something where you can install multiple apps. like you can monitor thousands of machines and all those. If you see this website monitoring, it is running since 1 month. I can get the status history for you know. I am getting the response time average last 24 hours for all the servers. This is like hourly basis. The production support or some guy can see like, okay, at 6 p.m. there is a lot of traffic. At 10:30, 11 or 12, there is less traffic. And the system is available 98.61%, and there is only one failure. And the failure is occurred at the failure is a connection failed, and the affected URL is like go to meeting. Like that, if you have the dashboard, within 2 minutes you can give the update the status. So the Splunk developer, this is the overall summary. So there are two sites with failures, and there is only one site which is up and running. There is no site with warnings. Like that, the Splunk developer will like design these dashboards. Okay, this not only Splunk developer, even development team. Now we are going to DevOps model now. So the thing is like this will be also done by the developers as well as the testers or the admin, corresponding admin. Okay, I am done. I will take the questions. You can unmute and ask the questions. Yeah, Splunk is similar to Kibana. There are some competitors for Splunk. I worked on Elk Stack, that is like Elasticsearch, Kibana, and Logstash. That is complicated. Sometimes the logs are missed, and maintaining itself is a hectic job. It is not so easy. Yeah, it's same like Elasticsearch, Kibana, and Logstash, Elk.
Hello, sir. Sir, actually, Kibana. Okay, so I mean, instead of Kibana, Elasticsearch, so we'll go for Splunk. Right? Splunk is.
Elasticsearch, there is some combination like Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. Here
Kibana.
you are having your UI, right? The same you will be having there as Kibana. Kibana is the UI component.
Okay.
Logstash is the universal forwarder component. It will ship the logs.
Okay.
Elasticsearch is like an indexer which will store the data. So there are three components they have united. Here, right,
Okay.
there is only one software, that is the enterprise edition,
Okay.
which you will change the configuration, and like you will be having license manager or whatever the component, whether it is a search head, will do the configuration in the same software to make it as a search head or a license manager or an indexer or a deployment server. Based on the need, you have to do the configuration.
Okay. Okay. Sir, and as you told, Splunk developer and Splunk architect, Splunk developer in the sense like I mean, it's like a Java developer. Java, they will use the Java, I mean, Java for the development. So, like Splunk developer, any particular language is there, or
SPL. Now you have to know. You should know, right. You should be capable of like SQL. Developer will be there. He won't do Java. He will write some queries. Yes or no? In the same way,
mm-hmm.
you have to write some queries to make the data meaningful. I'm
Okay.
getting the raw data.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting the raw data here. This one,
Mm-hmm.
let us assume you know get and post method, no?
Yeah,
Now
yes,
I
sir.
want to know,
Mm-hmm.
let us assume my customer has given me a requirement. So post is for payment and get is for searching for my retail company, online
Mm-hmm.
shopping. Get means you will get the item, whether it can be a mobile or whatever. So you want to know how many people are viewing the items and how many people are buying the items. So
Buying
for
that.
that, you have to write a query, something like, so you got it right.
Yeah.
Like
Yes, sir.
that, you have to write the SPL queries and write. So here, right, if you say 90 people, like 6K people are doing the purchase, and let us assume like they're deleting from cart or deleting the whatever, because like
Okay.
log will change from one application to one application. To your
Sure.
example, right, I can say, right, 1500 are making payment out of some 7K events.
Sure. Okay. So SPL is a language, or it's
Yes,
a query language, or
it's
SPL
a
is a
query
Splunk
language.
language? Splunk
Yes,
language.
Splunk. This is Splunk language. Okay. In
Okay.
SQL, right here, the data here, now you are putting your data in the indexer. Got it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is not a database like SQL where you can log in and write a Splunk query, sorry, SQL query.
Mhm.
There will be some other language to extract the information or the stored information. Correct?
Okay.
That is
Yeah.
called as the SPL.
Okay.
So
But
like this, we have to write the queries. That
okay.
is the job of the. Here I am writing a simple one, but like custom based on the customer requirement, you have to write. In your labs, in your institutes, right? They will give the write the small queries, right? A DBA will write it some 20-30 lines query. In the same way, you have to know the concept and you have to implement it.
okay. Sir, I have another question. Like, I mean, what are the logs, I mean, getting from different environment or different systems, which will be stored in a database only, right? In the Splunk database, right?
There is no something like Splunk database. It is stored in indexer.
Index.
Indexer is a
Okay.
component
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
stores the logs.
Yeah. But anyhow, that acts as
No.
a database,
But
right? Like
Splunk,
indexer.
Splunk terminology, you should not call it as a database.
Oh, it's an indexer.
Because,
Indexer.
okay, in
Okay.
terminology, you should not uh, tell like it will store in database. It will store
Database.
in indexer.
Indexer.
Basically, it will store the data in the directories itself.
Okay,
As okay,
but the developer's job is like developer, like, I mean, how it will store, and in what are
that
the
will that
values
will
or fields, right?
that will explain like in the course, right? We'll have that one. So now you
Okay.
are getting this data. I told you like there will be some 7 days, 1 year data, 5 years data, and
Mm-hmm.
what is the GB of the data, what is the
Mm-hmm.
structure, where it will do. Let us assume like 1,000 applications are there. If each one is sending 5 GB, how much will
Mm-hmm.
be needed? 5,000 GB will be needed. Whether 5,000 is really GB, that is the raw data. After that, you will be having something like a metadata, which will have the information. Because when I click a search, right, automatically that data should come, right? You should
Yeah.
not, I should not wait for hours. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
searching my data for last 5 years, I should not wait for hours, no.
Yeah.
So there will be some mechanisms how it stores the data.
Yeah. Okay.
That will be part of the Splunk admin. Okay, how they will
Okay.
store,
Okay.
whether they can restore it or not, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Any question? I'm open to questions. You guys can ask questions. I will take it. I encourage questions basically.
Hello, sir. Is it audible?
Yeah. 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 Tell me.
Sir, how much time it will take time to learn Splunk, sir?
It will take 1 month
Okay,
because
sir.
there
For
are
developer,
developer. It will the course will be like 15 days. Okay, because
okay,
we
okay,
are clubbing admin and development together. I'm not saying like
okay.
there won't be any separate fee for development and separate for as both will be a bundled package. Future rate will
Okay, sir.
decouple it, because if you are working in a
Okay,
product
sir.
based company, the problem is if you are working in a product based company, the thing is like you won't have separate person who will be an admin, because product company will have some 30 or 40 servers or like 100 servers. For that
Yes,
they
sir.
recruit an admin and they won't recruit a developer. So Splunk role they will create and they will hire one. They have to do the both, because that depends upon the company also where you are hired. If it is a big company,
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I got some questions in the chat. Let me answer. Yeah, thanks. Can I store the data permanent or not? Okay, Prakash has asked that question because any data, right, will have some retention period based on some like guidelines prescribed. If it is a bank, you will have some X days. Okay, if it's a telecom domain, you will have some days, right? You will store the data for till that time. So that law will define the raw will dictate like the data should be stored for those many days. Okay, if it is like normally no one will store the data, right, completely. They will delete the data. They will have some retention period where they want to get the data. Okay, whatever the data that needs to be present, right, that will be present in DB. Okay, this is for analyzing and all those. Let us assume like your company is owning your infrastructure. These indexers and all those will be owned by your company also. If they think like they have to store the data permanently, they can store. It is based on their company. No other prerequisite is required actually. So it is a completely new set. If you take these days, right, previously 7 years back, you used to learn first C, after that C++, Java. I'm not saying for Splunk. Generally, I'm saying. So there used to be some hierarchy, but when we did first we should learn C, C++, Java. Now everything is independent. We are having multiple courses which doesn't require any prerequisites like big data or like machine learning, Splunk. These technologies doesn't require any prerequisite. Any fresher can also learn.
Sir,
Yeah,
sir,
yeah, tell me.
sir, this course will be continued.
Yeah, like yeah,
Will be continued, sir.
yeah. Our
Like a daily
courses will get
like daily basis. Okay, sir.
yes, yes, yes. We'll initiate a batch. Any other questions? You can put it in chat. Is in that Kibana correct? I'm going through my chart windows. Splunk Java
Sir,
is not needed.
sir, I have a question. Like, I mean, okay, anyway, you explained this before. Like, I have 50 microservices. So 50 microservices. I need to install this forwarder, which is forward to the indexer or
Yes, yes.
the agent
That
as
is
agent.
yes, yes. The thing is like microservices, right? How it happen now? First microservices will call second microservices. Second microservices will call third microservices. So when we have this decoupled sort of thing, no, it will be complicated for us also. Some things will be present in cloud. Some will be present in local data center. So we will be installing this Splunk forwarder there such that they will ship. For your question, yes.
Uh, Sir, okay, on 50 microservices, like the same configuration exists, right? Like
No,
some
the log will change, right? For each microservice, you will be having a different log, no? That depends. Like if you are writing
mhm.
2-3 microservices data to same log file, that would be different. It's simple. You understand
So
such that whatever the system has, it will ship. Don't link microservices to Splunk. It is something like, can you go on? Actually, I'm getting another. I got your question. Yeah. So you don't think like microservices, you don't couple with the Splunk. You couple with the data that is generated by the microservices. If you write the data, basically, right, it needs some configuration, something like which log, like
sir, which means microservices 1, microservices 2, microservices 3 is there. And from microservices 1, if it generates some log which is different, which is directly which is stored into the indexer, and microservices 2, which generates some log, okay, but that will be stored into the indexer, right? So all the
yes,
microservices differently it's stored, but if I want to search in that indexer, like there how I mean, but
the
how
simple,
it will fetch, right? Which microservices like that?
no, the simple. here, irrespective of whether 100 or 200 microservices, leave it. If it writes that microservices writes some 100 microservices,
Okay.
they are writing to some file. Ultimately, you should should couple this file should be sent to indexer. So you should concentrate on this one.
Okay. Okay.
Leave about this 100. Whatever the file that gets generated, that should be shipped. We are not bothered about this 100 microservices or 200 microservices. If log comes there, so that let us assume you put all the things in one directory, all the logs, then all the logs will be shipped based on the rule you define.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Clear?
That each microservice has its own rule. We can define like that.
Let us assume you put, yeah, correct. You are just confused whether if it is 100 or 200, each is having different log. I am telling if it is a file, it will pick whether it is 1 or 100, it doesn't matter. For me, if 100 microservices generate one file, it will generate in my configuration. I will give this file. If I have 100, I will give 100 log files names. If it is something like a directory, all the logs will be in where logs. In logs folder, you will have all the directories. Then I will ship only the logs folder. Whatever, if it has some 100 microservices or 200 microservices logs independently, I don't bother. Got it?
Okay. Yeah, got it, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you.
Any further
Sir,
question? Yeah, please.
sir, sir, in what category the Splunk will come? For suppose like if we take SQL, it comes under database. If you take Java, it comes under application. Like that, but what category Splunk comes? Sir?
It actually the Splunk beauty is like it is being used by 2000 more than 2000 companies. Okay, I told you no, like based on your role, it will basically Splunk will be used by everyone in an enterprise.
Okay.
Based on your role, if you are a developer, you will check for errors testing. People will test for errors because you are having some 100 microservices. If developer want to fix some issue, you should know the root cause. If it is a security guy or a big data or a data science guy, here I'm getting some router information or some other information. So using this raw data, they will extract. The data science guy will do it for a different purpose. He will write the same SQL statements, SPL statements. Got it? There will be some like if it is a Java, there is something like if it is a Java, it will be used by developer. It is something if it is something like a .NET, no, only .NET developer will be using some technology. If it is some Selenium, right, it will be used by tester. So for Splunk, it is not like that. It should be used by everyone, even for production support or an admin. Now you are having some admin role. Okay, you are an admin in your company. You are some 1000 servers.
Yes.
You log into 1000 servers and check the status. And you are support guy. Here I'm having some status now. Here I'm having some dashboard. I can't directly come and check whether my application is up and running. I can have a create dashboard. Okay.
Yes, sir.
If I feel something, you got the answer. No, it is being used by. It can be used by anyone.
Every project it will.
There is no something like technology binded or role binded. Even a manager also can look into it, or an architect, or a CEO can. Even if you see this trend, like you are getting the COVID reports, you are getting the dashboards, analytics. Same thing you can. Here, the raw data would be the data that is coming from the governments from various countries. They will collect, analyze, and put it in a pictorial view. Simple.
Okay. So that it will clearly understand to the end user.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Data science projects. Yes. If they want to extract the information of from the logs data or something, right, it can be used. So here, that's why I'm saying it is not technology binded. It has to be used by everyone. Let us assume in DevOps, you will be having a builds, right, that will be generated automatically. So I will show one more thing. So Splunk can be Splunk base, not user base. Sorry. If you see, these are the apps that can be integrated with this Splunk. Means let us assume like in your production servers, you are using some apps like monitoring apps, and if you are like app dynamics, okay, or new relic, something like that, right? Those can be integrated. That value that is collected by that app dynamics or like new relic can be fetched in this one. So if I see, if I type for Jenkins, okay, here if you see, there are some different categories. It is used by IoT, and so those people will use these apps to make the data available. Docker, they can get. Business analyst will use these apps. Deep learning, SAP, service now add-on. If it is like an IT operation guy, right? He will integrate these apps to it. Slack, Oracle, add-on for Microsoft Windows. If it is a DevOps guy, he will integrate with some components like Jira, Splunk, AWS. Okay, there are a number of technologies, but once you join into the company, right, you will be using like there are like thousands of apps. You can't teach everything, and you have to do. You can't teach everything every app, no. So like that, they can integrate these apps. There will be something like IT operations guy is there. Okay, he will be using these apps. One second, I have to move this one. There will be something like Jenkins. You can get the data from the Jenkins. If you type security, Splunk is very vast. It's not. Don't think like Splunk is small. It will get the data from the VMwares. Like that, you will have multiple use cases. Okay. Next question. If you don't have at the end of the session, right? You should not have. I will make sure like you don't have doubts. For now, do you have any doubts? Please speak. Else we'll wind up the session. Even small doubt also is fine. I will take it. Don't hesitate to ask question. That too, if someone is asking if you have any questions, you should not hesitate. Okay. I hope everyone is clear. We'll wind up the session then. Yeah. Hope it's clear, right? Is the session useful? Okay. You can stop the recording now.